Perfect. All right, we're gonna jump in, guys. I like starting on time just because I can't stand it when we just don't start on time. So we're gonna get rolling into this tonight. We're talking about block scheduling. I mean, this is like the sexy topic. This is what everybody likes to talk about. This is one of those big things that, man, I tell you, it makes a big difference in your office. It's not that hard to implement, but at the same time, it's one of those things that people really struggle to implement at the same time. And I think a lot of it is that we just overcomplicate these things and we don't necessarily need to overcomplicate them. So I'm hoping I will make it a little bit easier for you watching this tonight. Now, I'm going to explain block scheduling to you. I do have a free gift for everybody who makes it to the end of this. I very much appreciate if you do. This is a document that I created on block scheduling. So, Designing Better Days. It's about our philosophy of Dental Practice Heroes block scheduling and how do we present it to the team. Because I'll tell you, two things get people stuck with block scheduling. One is they just don't get started. They overthink it and they go, man, I don't know. I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. And they just don't start. Or two, they don't get buy-in from their team. So that's what this document is about. For everyone who stays till the end, I will share this with you guys. Okay. So I'm going to share some block scheduling stuff with you. And then I want to tell you about our new program that we're starting and kicking off in June. Real short, just tell you what it's about. If it's for you, cool. If not, no worries. I don't care. I'm just glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're one of those type of people that wants to learn more about how to run a better practice because that's always been something that I have held near and dear to my heart is, mastery. Let's get better at doing what we're doing, right? Why not? Let's make our practices awesome. I mean, I truly believe that we are in the golden age of dentistry, even though many people will say, oh, it's past, it missed, it sucked, DSO, insurances, all this stuff, labor market, whatever. Let them be negative. There's plenty of money to be made for everyone. There's plenty of fulfillment to go around. All right, let's jump in. So, you guys should know who I am because you probably heard about this through the podcast, but maybe you got it through an email or from a friend. I am Paul Etchison. I am a doctor. I'm a dentist. I do have the podcast, the Dental Practice Heroes podcast. I wrote 2 books on dental practice management, both available on Amazon. And I invented this Omni Practice program, which is a 7-phase program that I've been taking my coaching clients in, taking them through to systematize their practice, build a leadership team, make their practices run better, and make it run without them. That's what my thing is. I want to make it run without you because that's when ultimate freedom comes forward. When we are free to do what we want and practice the way we want, life gets really good. That was my experience. So I like to hope that I am helping in creating better fathers and mothers and spouses through helping people create better dental practices. Now, if you got a question at any time, feel free to throw it in the chat, throw it in the Q&A. I will answer those all at the end. But yeah, let's get rocking. Let's jump in here. Block scheduling, one of my favorite things to talk about. All right, so here we go. Go forward. Let me make sure I get my notes in front of me, and then we're going right forward. All right, so let's talk about stress at the dental practice, right? What causes the most stress at your dental practice? It is stressful being a dental practice owner. We can all agree that. You all been there. What are we gonna say? Definitely it's the team. Most people would say it's the team. But what about the expenses? What about our payroll? I mean, gosh, how much has labor costed us now versus like 3 years ago? What a big difference. How about the patients? You've heard me say that the patients, they're just different now. They're different than they were like pre-COVID. The expectations are higher. It just doesn't feel good anymore. But what makes it truly stressful at your practice? And what stresses you out? And I guarantee, no matter what you say, no matter what you're thinking about, it has some element of unpredictability. There's some element of unpredictability that stresses us out at the practice. And we hate unpredictability. Sure, we don't want things to be monotonous and same all the time, but we want them to be predictable. And when we feel that unpredictability, it stresses us out. So, what is a source of unpredictability at your practice? Is it the schedule, perhaps? I mean, think about this. I mean, the schedule, we look at it every single morning. You can look at this schedule and can you tell? You've got this ability as a dentist. You can look at the schedule and say, is today going to be a high profit or low profit day? Is today going to be busy or slow? We can tell by looking at the schedule. See how dense it is? Do we have any openings today? Or are we jam-packed full where we can't see an emergency? Is it going to be chaotic or is it going to be smooth? You can look at your schedule and say, you know what? This is a part of the schedule we're going to have some trouble getting through because we're a little overbooked. Is it reasonable or is it what the hell are they thinking at the front? Do they paying attention or what are they doing? What the hell is going on? Sometimes it's that. Is anyone else looking at the schedule? Does anyone else have a brain in this practice? I know we've all felt that. Have you felt like that before? So ask yourself, is it predictable? Is your schedule predictable? Because when it's unpredictable, it stresses us out. And so why do we make our schedules so horrible? Because in reality, I mean, who's responsible for the schedule? Who creates it? Us, our team, based on our standards, based on the things that we decided we want to do, the rules that we've created, our team and us, we create the schedule. So why do we do it so hard on why are we so hard on ourselves when it comes to schedule, right? Our schedule truly, it rules our day. It is the reason that we might have stress. Let's see, why may I click it? Okay, it leads to us to have emotional fatigue, right? It can lead to a poor patient experience. If our schedule are running all around like crazy, we don't give every patient the amount of time that they should get. It leads to mistakes. I mean, we make more mistakes when we're working fast. We forget to do things. We forget to check boxes. We forget to cross the T's and dot the I's. It leads to random production numbers. Sometimes we have a big day. Sometimes we have a small day. Sometimes medium, sometimes the days are just right, but rarely are they just right. It can lead to burnt out team members. People are like, I'm sick of working here. Every day is chaotic. You ever had a team member tell you, I go home and I cry. I leave and I get in my car and I cry. I've had team members tell me that. It is so stressful here. I get in my car and I cry. That's pretty bad. Where does that come from? Overbooked schedule. Who's in charge of the schedule? It's us. Damn right it is. What about case presentation? You ever look at this in your patient's mouth? You got an endo going in the other room. You got your next like 10 composites sitting numb, ready to go. And you got this patient in front of you. You got a fractured marginal ridge. And we go, damn it. Don't really feel like talking about this right now. Let's watch it. Is that the right thing to do for the patient? Probably not. No, it's not. But this is what we do when we're overbooked and we're running behind and our schedule is chaotic. So our schedule rules our day. We need to realize that it's important. Our schedule equals our experience. Our experience of our day at the practice is determined by our schedule. And our experience at the practice, this place that we spend a lot of our life at, it becomes the experience of our life, the fulfillment of our life. So our schedule is more than just the little piece of paper or the little digital file that tells us where we're supposed to go and what our patients we're going to see today. It really determins the quality of our life at the practice. So when we're looking at schedules, we want a good schedule. We don't want the bad schedule. We're like Goldilocks. We want busy, but not too busy. But what is the goal? We've got to decide what are we trying to achieve with the schedule here, right? What do most dentists do? Well, we say, I want every hour to be busy, but not too busy. I want everything full. I want to have something at every point of the day. I don't want any openings. I want it to be busy. I want to efficiently use my time. But I don't like that way of scheduling because that leads to a whole mess of problems, as we will see. What about dental practice hero dentists, the people that I coach, the offices that I work with? Okay, this is what we want. This is the goal of our schedule, and this is the goal of what I'm going to show you tonight. Every day meets our production goal. Every single day, we hit our production goal. So we hit the numbers that we want. Every day allows us to have amazing patient care and provide amazing patient experience. We get the balance of the right types of procedures. We don't have too many of this or too many deliveries or too many composites. It's the right type of procedures that meets our goal. And if we need to, there's time in our day to add same-day treatment for the emergencies to come in and the people that just need something that day. So we can take care of those people. So low stress. That's what I want out of my schedule. We do it. I remember my schedule. I used to do an ortho night used to be on Monday nights, and we used to do 30-minute ortho slots, and we did 3 or 4 columns across of it. And every time we ran behind, and every time I was stressed out, and every Sunday I started getting stressed out about Monday because I knew I was walking into a complete crap show. I knew it was going to be a crazy day. And how did I know? Because it was there on the schedule. Eventually, we changed the way we scheduled. We added more time to those visits. We saw like 4 less people because we changed that 30-minute slot to a 40-minute slot. It changed my life. I'm telling you, now that seems like it's hyperbole. It's not. It literally changed my life, adding 10 minutes to an appointment slot. But I'm gonna tell you, I ran that high production, that high stress, high chaos schedule. I did it for years before I changed it. So I want to make sure that we have enough time for our patients. And you know what? This is our goal in our schedule. The day is fun for everyone involved, including the patients. It is fun when they go to the dentist. Now, I know it's not always going to be fun for our patients. Other than the dentistry part that they hate, it can be fun. And that's what we're shooting for. So our schedule is truly our experience. Our experience leads to our fulfillment, our life. But you got to think about it. Where is our system? If their schedule is that important, where is the system for our scheduling? And why aren't we more intentional about it? That's what we want to do tonight. So why is your schedule so damn chaotic? Well, let's start with one thing that we like to do with our schedule. A lot of times, doctors, we don't really have a production goal. We have a goal, but we don't really follow it. You know, we're told by the practice management people, same day dentistry. They're here, they're ready to say yes, as much same day dentistry as you possibly can. But let's look at this. Let's look at this week for this doctor. All right. Monday, we did 12K. It was chaotic as hell. It sucked. Tuesday, man, we were slow. Lots of deliveries that day. Only $4,000 in production. Not a very good day. Wednesday, we had that one big case. That was a $10,000 day, man. But then Thursday was it wasn't really slow. We only did 6K. It was busy. We did a ton of composites. Up and down the roller coaster. Or how about this day? How about we just take that whole week and we balance it? And we say, you know what, we're gonna do 8K every day. Both of these weeks did 32,000. One was super chaotic and really out of balance, and the other one was like every day the same. Enough time for our patients, enough time to provide the patient experience. Everybody at the practice felt good, no burnt out team members. That's what we're shooting for. Why does scheduling fail for so many practices? Because the protocols they're absent. So we always just go to the default. And what is the default? Squeezing things into random places. We'll squeeze you in. We'll squeeze what in? Just because you make the appointment is smaller doesn't mean it makes it any faster to do it, right? We are reactive to the patient desires. Hey, we have an opening at 6 p.m. Can I come in at 6:20? No, the opening's at 6. Oh, I can't get here till 6:20. Okay, it's 6:20. Like, no, the opening's at 6. Come on. There's no structure. We have no intentions behind it. There's no architecture to the production. And we depend everything on luck. It's pretty much depending on luck. People get scheduled based on when we see them for their exams, and they get scheduled in that order. Sometimes we have a few good days where a lot of crowns come in. And it just happens to be that a lot of people schedule the crown that day. And some days we have a lot of composites because a lot of people schedule composites that day. And sometimes we have a crown come in that wants to get in and we can't see them for a week because we got a week full of goddamn composites. It's just random. We don't want to do that. So let's agree on something that it's important for us to schedule. It's important for us to get intentional about it. And not all schedules are created equal. What I mean by this is that most schedules in dental offices, they will prioritize small appointments. Now you're like, I do not prioritize small appointments. But if you don't have any rules, you kind of do, because a small appointment will fit anywhere. It's like the tugboat on Battleship. It goes anywhere. It's like the little dot piece in Tetris. It will fit anywhere. So it is almost prioritized. Anything small can go anywhere. So let me ask you, if you had the choice between 2 different days and you could do 3 crowns or 20 composites, what would you pick? What's an easier day? What's a day that's like easier on your head? It's easier on your emotions. It's easier on the team. The 3 crown day, for sure. And that 3 crown day is about the same amount of production as those 20 composites. So you can't say that those are equal days. That 20 composite day, I go home, I don't want to come back. I start questioning whether or not I made the right decision being a dentist. I start looking for excuses where I should have done something else. I should have been driving an ice cream truck, making kids happy. I don't know. Most schedules prioritize recall. And again, you'll say, well, I don't prioritize recall. But when you allow an open schedule, a blank slate, and you schedule your existing patients 6 months ahead of time, that's prioritizing recall. Because 6 months from now, when you get to that point where that recall patient's coming in, a new patient will call and they'll say, why can't I get in today? And you'll say, this day has been full for 6 months. And they're like, well, you mean I got to call 6 months ahead of time to get an appointment here? I know I'm exaggerating, but that's prioritizing recall. So which leads to new patient choking. Not choking them because we're so angry with them, but we choke off the new patient flow in a practice. We reach a certain level, and this is why a lot of practices can kind of plateau between 1 and 1.8 mil. And it's because they get to that point where they got a big enough patient base, they stop seeing as many new patients because there's nowhere to stick them. And they get stuck and they're like, how do I get past this? The solution is to expand your capacity. But it's hard to know when you can do that when you're just scheduling by default. They have this fear, maybe we should expand, add another hygienist, but you know what? I don't know if I can keep another hygienist busy. What if they're not busy enough? Or I don't want to check 3 hygiene. So then they get stuck and they do it year after year. Hygienists are like, we're so busy. This is great. Our practice is really booming. And doctors like, I don't have anything to do because we don't see any new patients anymore. And I'm working on the existing patients, and that's not enough for me. So I'm saying is not all schedules created equal. This is somebody I worked with, Dr. Pat Wong. He was had his office, associate-driven office, doing about $350K a month. Turned on DPH block scheduling, bumped it up to $500,000 within a month. All they did was change the way they schedule. So this is what you can do. I assure you, I've taught this way of scheduling to so many people. This is the best way to schedule. It is the easiest way to schedule. Your team will say it's easy. You'll hire new people from other offices and they'll say, this makes so much sense. I don't know why more people don't do that. Okay. So this is one of those things is like, we got to put the schedule, and it's different for every doctor. I've got a client I'm working with on the West Coast, Dr. Matt, and his schedule is block scheduled to make sure that he does about 1.8 million. I got a Dr. Mike. He's on the East Coast, around DC area, and he's doing about 2.4 mil as a solo doc. So his goal is different. His block schedule is different. But nonetheless, to do those numbers, you need the block schedule. All right. So what are we doing? What is DPH block scheduling about? It is intentional. We balance the production. And so balanced production means like we make sure we hit our number. We stay on goal. And we're basing it on dollar per hour goals. We're making sure that we hit our dollar per hour goal. When we hit it, we're done. Okay, we're not going to blow open to have a big day and a small day and a big day, a small day, even days. Operationally, it's simple. I mean, it's not a complicated schedule. We don't double book. We don't like plan for people to not show up. It makes sense. And when we do it this way, because we've got it based on dollar per hour goals, it allows us to take more time off and to work less days. One of the first things that we do with our coaching clients is we figure out a way to create this block schedule so they can immediately go from 4 days to 3 days clinical. Because I know as a client, if I can get you to 3 days clinical, I give you a fourth day a week to start working on your systems. And I know when you start putting focus on your systems, your practice is going to start grow and you're going to start growing and you're going to have results. Everything's going to increase. And you're like, I can't believe I'm doing more money on 3 days now than I was doing on 4 days. It's insane. So when we create this block schedule, we also get the benefit of creating these intentional capacity points. So I mentioned the new patient choking. We run out of room for new patients. That is a capacity point. So what do we do in that capacity point? Most doctors would be like, I don't know. Should I bring on another hygienist? I don't want to check 3 hygiene. I don't know if I'm ready. But the thing is, when you have this capacity point, you're stuck there. You're like, okay, well, should we continue to see new patients? Because if we continue to see new patients, we can't see our existing patients. And then your hygiene team says, Why are we not taking care of our existing patients that have been with us for X amount of years? And you want to prioritize the new patients. So it's like either or. Who are we taking care of? The old patients, the existing patients, or the new patients? Doctor wants to take care of new patients. They need work. Hygiene team and team wants to take care of the existing patients. They've been loyal. We can take care of both. That's what we're going to do at Black Study. We take care of both. And what it means is that we expand our hygiene and we still see new patients. But this is an expansion point because we created it intentionally with our block schedule. All right, let's talk about hygiene. New patients at my office are 90 minutes. When I opened my office in 2012, we used to do 50-minute new patient exams. We did it. We took all the diagnostics. We took the panel, the 4-bite wings, 6 PAs, probing depths, intraoral photos, all that jazz. We did it in 50 minutes. I don't think there was a lot of time for error. There was no time for the patient being late. There was very little time to talk to the patient. It was too short. 90 minutes, I think, is good. Okay. We used to do 80 minutes before COVID. 90 minutes, I think that's reasonable. I don't think you should be any longer than that. Scaling and root planing, we have that at 90 minutes as well. Okay. And then our recall exams, prophies, whether or not there's x-rays, we just decided it's 60 minutes. So these seems like a reasonable amount of time, but it's also something that fits really nicely on a schedule. Okay. It's not like, I'm talking about Tetris, those weird pieces that are hard to put somewhere. Everything fits really good when it's all 60, 90, or 90. So I talked about the capacity point. When we are blocking out hygiene this way and we're holding space for new patients, we're saying this place on this schedule, on this day, 6 months from now, we will see a new patient. This place on this schedule, 6 months from now, we will see a scaling and root planing. And this is where I will schedule my existing patient. When we do that, we can now look forward 6 months ahead of time and decide, is my practice at capacity? Now you look, most people, well, 1,200 to 1,500 active patients per doctor, whatever, I don't care. Decide how many new patients you want to see, block them out on the schedule, and then look forward 6 months and decide if you're at capacity. Let's look at this schedule. Okay, so you'll see my 3 colors here. You see my green ones, my red ones, and my yellow ones. My green is my new patients, my reds are my scaling and root planing, and my yellows are the recalls. When you look at this schedule here, you see the yellows. There's 5 yellow things. So that means there's 5 open recalls. That means I am not at capacity. I am not ready for a new hygienist. I'm not ready to expand. If you look forward and you do this, now the only openings I see are either red or green. I see new patient openings and I see scaling and root planing openings. This means I am at capacity. This means I have nowhere to put a recall patient. So what are my options now? This is 6 months from today. I can put a recall patient 6 months in a day. But what if it still looks like this? 6 months and 2 days. Still looks like this. 6 months and 3 days. I can start putting the patients out further than 6 months, or I can add another hygiene column. These are 5 hygiene columns with 2 doctors. So if I add another hygiene column, now I have places to put my recall patients. But then you ask, well, what hygienist? I don't have a hygienist. Well, open the column. You got 6 months to figure it out. I don't know anyone who's got bit in the ass with that yet. But I'm just saying, you got 6 months to figure it out. If you don't figure it out, you can always do assisted hygiene or something like that. That's a lot easier solution, but you'll figure it out. You got 6 months. You'll make it happen. I believe in you, doctor. Okay, doctor, let's talk about the doctor blocking. We've got 3 goals when it comes to doctor blocking. That was hygiene blocking. Now we're talking the doctor side. All right, so we're doing this based on the desired dollar per hour goal. I do believe everybody should be able to do $650 collectible, adjusted production, collectible, not full fee, not before write-off, not all jazz, that jazz, $650 collectible per hour. That's what I want my associates to do. I've never had an associate not do it. So I know it's a reasonable amount. I've had doctors do way more than that, but that is my floor, okay? Another goal, we are gonna hold space for high dollar per hour procedures. What is a high dollar per hour procedure? Well, that's going to be like a crown. It's going to be crown and root canal, crown and build up. It's going to be like if you're going to do extraction and bone graft, implants. Okay, we're going to make sure that we're going to see a certain amount of those high dollar per hour procedures because we're trying to hit this goal of $650 plus. So we need to have procedures on that schedule that are higher than $650 per hour for the amount of production that we get from them versus the amount of time it takes to do. We're going to have some other appointments on there that are not so productive. A crown delivery, an extraction maybe without a bone graft, maybe 2 fillings. It's hard to make those as profitable as our dollar per hour goal. Those are going to be below. So we need a balance of high dollars and low dollars so we land in the middle somewhere above our dollar per hour goal. So it's not only about holding space for those big appointments, those high dollar per hour appointments, it's also about limiting how many low dollar per hour ones we're about to see. I remember one day where I did something like 25 composites and I ran around like crazy. I think I numbed like 12 people that day. And then I looked at my day sheet at the end. I remember sitting in my office, exhausted, like, holy God. And I ran this day sheet and I said, that's it? Did we not bill some stuff? I started going through the day. Did we not like complete some procedures? No. All I did was composites all day. And I felt exhausted. You ever had that day before? Yeah. That's how it is when we have too many low dollar per hour procedures. They're harder to do, they're emotionally draining, they hurt our back, and we don't get paid enough to do them. So we've got to limit the amount of those. So this is what a doctor blockout looks like in my system. So you will see we paint these on our schedule. This is open dental. You can do this in Curve. You can do it in Dentrix Ascend. There's ways to do this in nearly every practice management software. I find open dental is a little bit nicer than some of the other ones, but I know we're all moving to cloud-based stuff. It seems that way. This does not seem like a crazy feature, and sometimes I get really frustrated with like EagleSoft. Like, why is this function so bad in this software? But you can do it. You can still do it, so don't be discouraged. All right, so every block has either a major or it's a minor, and it has a dollar amount attached to it. These dollar amounts are based on what is the cost of stuff at my office. So typically your major blocks, your minimum for a major block will typically be the fee of a crown plus a build-up. That's a good place to start. All right, minor blocks are typically going to be the fee of maybe 2 class 2 fillings, maybe two or 3 surface fillings. That's just a good ballpark to start. Remember, I mentioned one of the things that gets people stuck on this is overthinking this stuff. It's more important you just get something on the paper, try it out, see what doesn't work, move forward. Now, you see the lunch block on there. This is 2 columns, 2 assistants. One's got a lunch block. The other one does not have a lunch block. I don't know. That person just takes a lunch whenever they want, I guess. But we've got the major blocks, the minor blocks, and we got these yellow LOEs. Those are limited oral evals. We hold space in our schedule for our emergencies because if we do not hold space for emergencies, our schedule tends to get completely full and we're either staying late or coming in early tomorrow. And my team doesn't like to do that. So we've got our major blocks. Guaranteed amount of high dollar per hour procedures. We make sure it happens. We've got our minor blocks. We limit them. On this day, 1, 2, 3, 4. We will have 4 appointments this day in which we will be doing composites more than likely. It might be an extraction and a graft, but it's only 4, not 25, like I mentioned that one day. We've got our LOEs, and then we also have special blocks as we need them. Those I'm going to talk about in a moment. Those will be things that are just like a little bit outliers. Molar root canals. Okay, I have a special block for molar root canals, special block for ortho starts, special block for crown deliveries. You just build, you start somewhere and you just work it into your system and you say, you know what? Here's what happened. I started doing molar root canals in my major blocks. I didn't have enough time to do it. So I said, you know what? We need more time. Should I make all my major blocks bigger? Well, that wouldn't be very smart. Why don't I just make a molar root canal block? So you find solutions for your issues that you have. All right. Every time you're looking at this, you're saying, what is the dollar per hour for each of these procedures? And you're figuring out what is the dollar per hour for everything that we do. So if we looked at this major block here and we said it's $1,500 and we're booking 2 hours for it, That's a $750 per hour, right? Now, we could put something in there that's $2,000, but we're not going to put anything in that block unless it's at least $1,500. Same thing with the minor blocks. If I put that in there, it's a 60-minute block, it's $500. So it's going to take up an hour of our schedule. And if it's $500, that's a $500 per hour. So on this schedule, we're kind of balancing between a $750 per hour blocks and $500 per hour blocks. We're going to end somewhere about $650 per hour. I'll show you some examples in a moment. Here we go. So these are some examples of days. This is my associates, 3 major blocks, 3 minor blocks. Here's another associate. This one needs a little bit longer time for the major blocks. How did we know that? Well, we tried at 2-hour major blocks and she couldn't keep up with it. So we gave her more time. I will not go longer than, I mean, this is pretty stretching it. Okay. You got to remember when you give more time for these blocks, your dollar per hour is going to go down. It's just the way it works. It's math. Here's one of my days. So this was the day, like, might have been like 5-6 years ago when I was doing all of the molar root canals at our practice and I was doing ortho. So what you see is some special blocks on here. I did some molar root canal and then I bounced over and I did a minor block. It was composites. I did another molar root canal, which I would be doing the build up and crown in this appointment as well. Then we would be milling it and delivering it as well. Then I bounce over and do the minor block and I do a comp ortho start. Make sure that every time I'm doing ortho, I start a case because all of those ortho checks below it, those are $0 appointments, $0 per hour. So let's add up these. We're going to say our rule, our system is that we are not putting anything in a block if it doesn't meet the dollar per hour requirement. We can't put a $200 procedure in the minor block that says greater than $500. You have to follow the system. Okay. So right here on this day, three major blocks, 3 minor blocks, we are going to see $6,000 in production, guaranteed if everybody shows up. How do we make sure everybody shows up? Well, we pre-collect. So we make sure everybody shows up, right? This one, second one, this is $5,200. This is $742 per hour. Why is it less? Well, we had to take more time. And we have 1 less major block and 1 more minor block on this schedule. Now this was the big day of me, okay? 2 molar root canals, buildups and crowns, 2 minor blocks, and an ortho start, which is going to be $5,000. $1,337 per hour. So pending everybody shows and we can fill the schedule. So now when you know what you're doing, when you know what your goal is, and you create the template, you can't go wrong. You've already put the recipe for success into your schedule. So now you can plan your entire year. You say, what is our goal? Well, let's take this for example. A $1.5 million office, okay? So $1.5 million total production. We're gonna say 30% of that $1.5 million is for hygiene. So that's $450,000. Doctor is 70% of production. So the doctor is going to do a little over $1 million with his or her own hands. Let's figure out how many days per week. Well, I want my doctors to work 3 days per week because I want you to use that 4th day to work on your business, work on your systemization, and working on the systems that all feed into this block schedule. Okay, this block schedule is just a little bit part of like a systemized practice. I mean, this is only just a small part that we teach our clients. Like everything else works into this. So it's all works together. It's not just a schedule. It's all part of the practice in the system. So let's say 3 days per week. Well, how many weeks is this person going to take off per year? Let's give them 8. 8 weeks. Has anyone taken off 8 weeks? Most solo docs will struggle to take off 8 weeks. But let me tell you this. If you hit your goal and you know you're going to hit your goal, what happens when you take 8 weeks off? If you're a solo doctor, you don't feel bad about it because you know you hit your goal. You did exactly what you were supposed to do for the year. Versus when you don't have goals and you have the big days and the small days and you're just scheduling by luck, you feel really bad when you take a week off because you're like, dude, I mean, this vacation cost $10,000, but I shut down my practice. That was probably $35,000 I lost out in opportunity costs. I want you to think like that. I want you to think like planning the year. All right, let's go to the math. $1,050,000 because that is the doctor portion of a $1.5 million total office. The doctor is doing $1,050,000. Okay, 8 hours a day, 3 days a week, 44 weeks a year, $994 an hour. That is what it's going to take for that person to take off 8 weeks per year. Wow, man, I don't know if I could do $994 an hour. I really tried hard at it, Doc, and I can't. Okay, cool. We do some more math. All right, for the fearful, that's supposed to say 1,000,005, and it says weird something. That's supposed to say the same thing, okay? 1,050,000. So we're gonna say you're fearful. You don't think you could do that. We're gonna say 8 hours a day, 3.5 days a week. Still give you a half day off. And instead of like, we're gonna take less weeks off. Now we're only taking 4 weeks off instead of 8. Now we can get away with $780 an hour. And I said my associates always have to do. I want my associates to do about $1 million. So here it is right here. $1 million, 8 hours a day, 4 days a week, 50 weeks a year. Associate typically take off 2 weeks. $650 an hour. See where that number comes from? 650? That's why my doctor's associates always do 650. Because that's what it is. It's that $1 million associate. Why? Because it's a nice round number and I like it. Cool. So what I'm saying and what I'm trying to illustrate for you is that you can figure this out. You base it on your goal. I have a doctor that I'm working with. He is on the East Coast and his dollar per hour goal is $2,400 an hour. How the heck he does it, I have no idea. He's a maniac, but he does it. And we created the block schedule to make it happen. That's a pace of work that he's comfortable with, and he's diagnosing enough crowns and enough procedures and seeing enough patients to make it happen. So, good for him, right? All right. So this is a philosophy, block scheduling. And that document that I'm sharing for everyone who makes it to the end, it talks about how it's a philosophy and how you should present it to your team as such. But the philosophy, it's win, 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 win. It's win for everybody. The patients win. Why? Because the patients win because we're not stressed out. We give them enough time that they need. We make sure that we take care of them in a way that gives them high quality treatment, high value patient experience. Our team feels good because they're not overly stressed, so they can provide that great treatment to our patients. So our team is chill, they're having fun, they're enjoying themselves, they're liking their job, they're not overwhelmed. The doctor wins because we make sure that our production goals are hit, and the doctor also gets to go through a day that's low stress, high production. The practice wins because it's profitable. Sometimes people bring on associates and they say, I just don't know how people make it profitable. And then I look at the numbers and I say, what is the dollar per hour this associate is doing? If you got an associate doing like $300 per hour, it doesn't work. You've got to get that person up $650 per hour. If you just get to 650, everything works out. I don't know why, it just does. Okay, there's probably some math equation that could explain that a little bit better, but I just find at $650 per hour at this time, 2026, your practice will be very profitable. A lot of your expenses will fall within the targets if you can get to $650 per hour. I think you as an owner doctor can do way more than that, talking about your associates. All right, we create the targets based on goals, on real goals. So we're looking at the targets based on our goal, and we're putting the targets on the schedule. Now we start using that as our practice management tool. We say, hey, I got this many major blocks, but I'm not filling them all. Well, what are we going to do to fill the major blocks? You need to fill more major blocks. So what can you do? Well, you can either go look at this left box here, okay? We say, okay, well, we only diagnose so much on each patient that comes through. We only get so much case acceptance on each patient that comes through. So if we're not going to increase our diagnosis, which most doctors aren't comfortable doing that because they feel like they diagnose at their level of aggressiveness that works for them. If we're not going to increase our case acceptance, well, we got to see more new patients. It's math. I would suggest looking at your diagnosis, make sure you're comfortable with it, but increase your case acceptance. How do I do that? Better communication, better systems, offer financing, work with the front end team, better patient experience. I mean, there's a lot we can do. So we're looking at it, we're saying how much dentistry can we get accepted to get onto our schedule to put into our targets? And then also you say, okay, well, if I want a higher dollar per hour goal, I need to shorten up my blocks and fit more in the day. So that comes down to your doctor speed. the efficiency, how well you utilize your team, how well you utilize your schedule and keep it full. So you might say, I can get to my goal, but I have to make these blocks so small, I can't keep up with them. So you've got one of two options. Make the blocks bigger so you can keep up your dollar per hour goal. It's going to lower, or keep that dollar per hour goal and figure out a way to work faster. I'm not saying cut corners. I'm saying utilize your team. Work with your assistants. Do it faster. How much dentistry can we fit and keep on that schedule? And then the last thing we can always affect is like, how much do we get paid for the dentistry that we do? I mean, most of us are involved in PPOs, so we should be renegotiating our contracts. We should be calling to see if we can get paid more. We should be checking to see if we can drop certain direct contracts so it gets picked up by like an umbrella or third party, or maybe gets picked up by another insurance company, things like that. There's people that help you do that. I'm not really making any recommendations, but I'm saying it's kind of nice when by the stroke of a pen, I mean, we did this one year, like we changed third party umbrellas and we got like a 6% increase in fees. We did nothing different. 6% increase in fees. Guess how much of that 6% was profit? All of it. All of it was. We got paid more to do the exact same amount of work. So that's pretty awesome too. So that can increase your dollar per hour, right? All right, how do we implement this? I'm going to give you some fast rules. There's no right way. The only wrong way is to not implement. That's the only wrong way. All right, take 75% of your new patient goal. Why 75%? That's just what I find works. 75% of your new patient goal and put those new patient blocks in 6 months from now. 6 months because you've got to go out 6 months in your hygiene schedule where it's clean, it's fresh, there's nobody booked. You might have to go out to 8 months. But 75% of your new patient goal. The other 25% to help you reach your new patient goal is going to come through not hygiene. They're going to come in as LOEs, as emergencies, stuff like that. Okay. Then you're going to put a certain amount of SRP blocks, scaling and root planing blocks, based on what your average is at your office. So you're either going to run a report and find out what your average is per month, how many quads, how many appointments do you need, or you're going to pick a goal and say, this is our goal. So if you picked a goal and you see that you're not filling all of your blocks, you say, okay, we needed to get better diagnosis. We need to diagnose more, or we need to get rid of the blocks. You're using the blocks as a standard, as a target. You're painting your goals onto the schedule and deciding what you need to do based on whether or not you can fill them. And then the last one, recall. That's hygiene. Start with your new patients, put your SRPs in, and the rest is filled with recall. The more new patients you see, the less recall you're going to have. The sooner you will get to a capacity point where you have to expand. So that's when you take care of your existing patients and your new patients. You do them both. Take care of both of them by expanding, adding a hygienist, adding more hours, adding more providers. You can decide whatever you want to do. You can add them into the schedule, and then you got 6 months to find the personnel. All right, let's talk about the doctor side. 2 to 3 major blocks. Mine are $1,500 right now. 5 years from now, they'll probably be $2,000. Okay, 2 to 3 of them. Why 2 to 3? Well, you know what? I'll tell you, when we did this, I started doing 2 to 3 and I loved it. I was like, dude, I'm doing 2 to 3 crowns every day, bigger procedures. Awesome. You know, it'd be better than that. 6. So I put 6 major blocks on my schedule. Guess what? I didn't diagnose enough to fill 6. So we had a lot of open ones. So I'm like, okay, either I need to diagnose more, I need to get better case acceptance, or I need to see more new patients to fill 6 major blocks a day. It just wasn't possible. So I went down to 3 for me personally. All right, put 2 emergencies in there. Just do it. And then the rest are the minor blocks. And I say these are $500 each in my office. Now, one thing that people always ask is they say, well, what about like the single filling that's less than $500? Okay, 2 things you do with that single filling. 1, either don't diagnose it, watch it, wait till the patient comes back in 6 months and needs more than 1 filling, or what we typically do it today. That's same-day dentistry. Don't let one crappy low production procedure come back. Don't let them go home and come back. When they're here, you don't leave this office until you get your little crappy procedure done, because your crappy little procedure is not going home and coming back and screwing up my day. Because that crappy little procedure, if it goes home and it comes back, is going to make my day crappy. So I got you here. I'm going to take care of that crappy little low production procedure right now. All right. So when you paint this onto your schedule, add up your dollars and figure out, does it meet your dollar per hour goal? If it doesn't, you need to make your blocks smaller. You need to fit more blocks. If it does, hooray. Okay. Typically, what will happen is whatever you paint onto the schedule, like these $1,500 blocks, you're not going to put a procedure in there that's $1,500. It's going to be like a crown with two fillings. It's going to be quadrant dentistry, so it's going to be like $1,800. So what I find is whatever's painted as the minimum goal on the schedule, people typically do about 15 to 20% more. All right. So then you get it, you roll it out, and you make it work. What I mean by you make it work is you see how it goes, you address the issues as they come up, and you come up with solutions based on that. But what I love about this level of like blocking and getting this intentional about your schedule is we are creating the ideal day. I mean, just picture this. Picture these days, like 3 crowns and 3 composite appointments. That's a great day. I mean, that's an easy day. That's not like roller skates. That's not stressful. You got enough time to talk and develop relationships with your patients. You got enough time to talk and like sit and do case presentation with your new patients. All of it. Okay. But this is just one part of a system. Okay. This is one system scheduling. The real reason that most practices they stay stressed and they stay stuck, it's not because they're bad at dentistry. It's just because they don't have a system and they're not intentional about what they're trying to create. And that's the difference between hearing information and actually implementing it, right? What we're looking at here, I'm showing you scheduling, which is part of a complete package that we teach with Dental Practice Heroes. This is an illustration from my first book. It's showing the 7 system categories. Every red arrow is a system category. So scheduling is just a small part of it. It says this is a much bigger program, what we're teaching in our new growth membership, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But essentially, I mean, we're trying to produce a practice. We're trying to create a practice that produces a certain amount of income predictably. It has low stress. It's consistent. It improves and gives great patient experience so that people are raving about your office. They're telling their family and friends. A practice that truly gets momentum and grows on its own. And you keep getting to that point where you get to that plateau. Okay. You start growing. You grow, 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 grow. And then you reach this point where you can't fit any more people. All of your blocks are full. All of your hygienist blocks are full. You have nowhere to stick your recall appointments. So what do? You add another hygienist. If adding another hygienist makes it so you won't be able to check that much hygiene, it's time to add another doctor. So you get to that plateau, you expand something, you change something, and you grow, 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 grow some more until you hit another plateau. So when you get to these plateaus, these capacity points, you should be jumping for joy because you are at an inflection point. And maybe that inflection point for you is, I don't want an associate. I don't want any more people. I don't want to expand my hours. So then what can you do to handle your capacity problem? You start dropping the lower paying insurances so that you can increase your dollar per hour via what we get reimbursed. And you will thin your herd that way. Okay. So this was something, I mean, this took me a long time. This took me 10 years to get here. All right. This took me from 2012 to 2022. And part of the reason was shit, I didn't know what I was doing. I was figuring it out as I was going. So my block schedule right now is probably on version 10. You know, we keep improving it. But I brought my first associate 3 years after I opened. I probably should have did it about a year after I opened, had I known what I know now. Another big thing is we expanded from 5 to 11 operatories in 2018. Had I known back then what I know now, I would have done that much earlier. And I brought my leadership team on in 2019. But I didn't really get to like my leadership systems till 3 years later. And that was the one that changed everything. That was when I had all these systems in my practice. I had my leadership team, but I was still the bottleneck. I was still the one making sure everything was happening. In 2022, when I passed a lot of the responsibility to the leadership team, that was what changed my life. That was what got me to the point where I was like, okay, dude, like I can do this for long term. I love this. I'm enjoying it. I'm being the visionary for the practice and I'm not having to manage any of the day to day. I can tell you my practice right now, in the past 2.5 months, I've been there 3 days. 3 days. And it runs fantastically well. Why? Because of my leadership team and the systems that I put in. This is what we're teaching people do with Dental Practice Heroes. Took me 10 years. I hope you can do it in much shorter. 2, 3 years. I really think that's possible, and I've helped people do that. So this is my new program. I will share that document with you in just a moment. I'm going to throw this into the chat really fast here. So some more information about this program. Where is the chat? Here we go. One moment here. All right, so this is our new legendary dental practice growth program. Okay, so what we're trying to do with this is we are trying to get a program that will teach your team the mindsets necessary to run a practice like this and also teach you how to lead your team towards that. All right, it's got everything in it. We're trying to cover every little thing that we can. We're teaching them how to lead. We're teaching your team how to set up the leadership systems, how to deal with like address accountability issues, how to talk to team members about, hey, guess what? This is what we want you to be doing. You're not doing it. You're not meeting expectations. How to have those conversations gracefully. This is my 7-phase DPH Omni practice system. This is what we're taking all of our doctors through. So we help you build your ideal production model, create your block schedule based on what your goals are and how fast you work. And we train your team how to schedule with it. We train you how to train your team as well. We teach you how to improve case acceptance through every little piece of your practice, every touch point, reduce the chaos, no more bottlenecks, everything can grow. And it's not just you driving that growth anymore. We're improving your hygiene profitability by teaching your hygiene team how to co-diagnose with you. I mean, we're going through cases with your hygiene team in our courses so that they can see how to talk to patients, so that they can sell more dentistry, so you can walk in the room and go, yeah, that's a crown. And your patients say yes. When the hygienist says you need a crown first and the doctor says a second, they say yes. So we're providing you as the owner doctor, teaching you how to lead your practice. We're teaching you how to make the leadership team, and we're giving your leadership team the skills that they need in order to run and manage your practice. Like I said, it took me 10 years to develop it. And I mentioned with my leadership team, I had a leadership team for 3 years before I turned that corner and figured out how to give them everything and create a system of accountability. And then your team, we're training, we're developing them. And one of those things you say, man, what about when I lose them? When you create a practice like this that is intentionally great, that takes great care of people, and that pours effort and investment into your team doesn't leave. Your team will stay with you. You will retain employees and you will grow because you're doing the things. You're doing the things we teach you how to do. These leadership systems and communication systems, cadences of meetings, how to do them. We teach you all that. So with this program, it is a year program. You will get quarterly calls with me, yours truly. We will plan out the next 3 months of your practice. Every month, we're doing virtual sessions together as a group. We're doing monthly department trainings that I'm hosting myself. So with your admin team, with your hygienist, like for instance, every hygiene meeting, we're going to go through a few cases together with your hygiene team, and I'm going to tell them how to explain this to patients. I'm going to explain why this marginal ridge needs a crown, why it's fractured, what's the risk of leaving it. We're going to do 3 in-person retreats. We just got back from Tennessee and Pigeon Forge. 16 doctors. We had a great time. And man, every doctor that comes to these retreats say, this is the best dental thing I've ever been to. I've never learned so much. And what's cool about you guys, you listen to the podcast, you care about your business. Those are the type of people that come to these retreats and get in these programs. It's not like when you go to some clinical CE and you'll meet some other dentists that are kind of maybe clinically geeked out, but they're not as business focused as you. Everybody's very similar. And we'll have 6 seminars you'll be access to, one of which is like teaching you leadership skills. One is dental business mastery. One is going through the KPIs, all that stuff. And you get all our documents so that you can create the systems in your practice, save you a ton of time. So next step for you, if you want to, is scan that code. You can set up a strategy call with me. I'm happy to talk you through what that looks like and what's possible. We also offer one-on-one coaching. My one-on-one coaching list is beyond full, but we do have Dr. Henry and Dr. Steve Markowitz, so they are there for one-on-one coaching if that's what you need. But I think this program, it's got everything you need. So that's dentalpracticeheroes.com/growth. You can schedule a strategy call there. And let me put this, I promised you that I would share that document with you. that free gift. So here is that document on how to present block scheduling to your team and how to get over the pitfalls of it. I'm popping it in the chat. If you're watching the recording and you're like, dude, I can't see the chat in the recording, you should have came. Why didn't you come live? That's why you got to come live. You get the free gift when you're live. You didn't come live, you don't get it. Sorry. Okay. So, this is like, just check it out. This is our program. This is what I think is going to really change everything. And if you know and you've seen any of my recorded materials or you know what I do in the podcast, I mean, I'm putting my heart and soul into this. I'm really trying to make this so you cannot fail. I think I've nearly got it to where even the worst communicator, the worst leader, I can turn them into something with this program. So that is the conclusion of me talking about block scheduling, but throw those questions in the chat or into the Q&A, and I will take a few questions before we skedads. But that was about an hour. That was a little longer than I thought. But gosh, man, I'll look at all the people that showed up. That's awesome, you guys. I'm so happy that this many people made it. Holy cow. That's cool. All right, well, yeah. I can't see it in the chat doc. Me too. Oh, shit. You know what? Thank you, Spence. Okay. Well, let me try that again because I only send it to the hosts and the panelists. Okay. Here is the document. Thank you for saying that. And here is the other thing I meant to share. I was only sharing it with, well, I was essentially just sharing it with myself. Isn't that sweet? Thanks, Spencer. So there's the two documents. There's the growth program, the growth membership, and the Google Drive thing is that document. So thanks for letting me know about that, Spencer. Okay. Let's see. Q and A. Can't see your lead. Thanks for on it. That's it. All right. So the answer is the link is in the chat right now. So that should got that. And if you we will have a recording of this if you want to watch this again. But don't overthink the block scheduling thing, guys. I mean, honestly, the best thing you can do is just really like, you got to start. Like, don't be worried that you're going to start it and then you're going to go like, well, I don't know if it's working. I mean, you'll know. You'll know if it's working or not. I mean, are you having bigger days? Are they more consistent? Are you staying on schedule? If you're not staying on schedule, you got to change one of the things. You pivot. You got to start somewhere. But I will tell you, like a good place to start. I mean, on my major blocks, we're milling in office. So you saw on my schedule, there was no crown delivery blocks. So if you're not milling in your office, for every major block, you will need a crown delivery block. And I will typically, when I design these for offices, I'll put that right after the crown, right after the major block. Because if somebody can come in at 9 a.m. for a crown, chances are they could probably come in at 10 a.m. for a crown delivery, or you can put them right at the beginning of the major blocks too. So you numb your patient, you bounce over to the next chair, you deliver the crown. Hopefully you're utilizing your assistant to the fullest extent. They got that crown ready to go, so it's not, you just pick up that cement and then you jump out of there and they hold it. They sit and they clean up the cement and all that stuff. All right, I don't see anything in the chat. Man, thanks so much, guys. Have a wonderful Wednesday. We're almost there in summertime. Woo, it's finally getting warm in Chicago. So thanks so much for coming out. I hope to have a strategy call with some of you guys. And I hope you guys check out this program. It's really, really awesome. I'm so excited for it. And I know, I mean, this is what I've been coaching dentists for eight years now. So I've been doing this Omni practice thing for 3 years now. This is creating results in people's practice. So I would challenge you, seriously, to look me in the eye, go through this program, and tell me you did not get a huge return on your investment. You'd have to really screw it up not to, because it's just, we can't make it any easier. But our goal is to, I mean, my goal working with you guys is I need to teach you how to lead. And I know that's not the most sexy thing, but I'm going to teach you how to do it. And anyone can learn it, just like I did, just like all my clients do. Anybody can get through this and make this happen. So, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys all. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Thank you for making it out on a Wednesday night live. You guys are the best. I'm going to close this off right now. Bye, guys.